Well, hello folks out there in YouTube land. Got a big show lined up for you. Let's get right on into it. All right, let's pull up this screen. Oh boy, Ilus has exploded today. Good grief, it jumped like you cannot believe. Let's find out what's going on with mighty Ilus.
By powers of ore which are exceptionally strong, dishes fly in the box where they belong.
All right, folks, if you've been watching Ilus, holy crap, that sucker's up a ton today. Let's see what it's actually doing. Yeah, up 50% right now. Yeah, that's a pretty good jump in about 3 or 4 hours. You know, it had been sitting down here. It had bounced off that 6 cents that we talked about, that support that had hit twice. And that was actually the last time I bought it. And I've been kind of just watching it. And it hit up here on resistance at little over 7 cents. And it busted through it today like crazy. I mean, it had no trouble getting through it. Now it's sitting up above another resistance line of 10 cents. So we'll see if it stays above that today. But boy, what a jump. Now, I've got a couple of hunches of why it jumped so much today, and we'll go into that. But let's take a look at the fundamentals of Ilus and why I think there's a good reason for it to be doing this regardless. As I've told you for many months now, I'm only buying penny stocks that are profitable. I'm not really adding any positions to ones that are struggling or have not reached profitability. And Ilus is one that's been profitable really from day one since Nick Link and JP took over. And as you can see, they're sitting at $19 million in revenue, which was up 500% over the previous year. And really, it's up that much in a quarter. They had a huge second quarter. And as you can see, they're profitable, 1.1 million on 19 million in revenue. And again, that's not quite as good a net income as I would like to see them have. But again, they had over $500,000 in non-operating expenses. And you got to realize, when you're acquiring companies, you're going to have a lot of closing costs, you're going to have legal fees, and they just got done with 2 years worth of audits. They had to go back and audit the previous year before they even took over, plus the current year. So that's a lot of work, and CPAs are not cheap, and legal work's not cheap. Plus, they've been traveling so much to make these acquisitions. There's just a lot of expenses in acquiring companies and catching up on accounting from a company that you weren't in control of. So I think that definitely hampered their net income some. We'll probably see that get better over time as these acquisitions become probably a little bit less. I don't think they'll be acquiring them quite as quickly. It also won't make up such a big percentage of the revenue. I mean, right now they're small, well, they're smallish, but they're going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. You know, with QIND and ERT and all the things they've got going in their subsidiaries underneath their umbrella. So I see this thing getting big over time, and so do they. And this last tweet they had that was really strong, where they talked about their September milestones that are coming up this month. And I think that's playing a role in this as well, because they're really expecting to do a lot in September. Their Serbia first site occupation and deal announcement, we know that's going to be, well, they're using the term astronomical, which is a word they like to use. The Form 10 is very significant, the ticker name change submission, because that's helps them with their investment bank and being able to get better funding for these acquisitions and less expensive funding. The QIND, they're assuming they'll finish this acquisition in September. That's a $100 million company, and the further acquisitions that they'll be announcing. And then, of course, we know about the share lockup and share buyback they've been talking about for quite a while, or at least the share lockup part, where they're going to be offering. And I would expect there'll probably be some sort of incentive in there that'll be good enough to get some folks to lock up their shares in a preferred category, which will lower the number of common shares, which will, of course, increase the share price because it's based on market cap. Everything's based on market cap. And the shorts have got to be furious today. The last time we looked at their short volume, it's been hanging around 50 to 70%. So this is kind of a nightmare for shorts. And they're almost certainly having to cover and buy that stock back because this is their worst case scenario. And I'm quite confident they're using a lot of ugly terms right now, probably a lot of profanity, and I'm glad you're not having to hear that.
You don't need to hear things like that. You just a boy.
Yeah, you don't need to be hearing that. And I know they probably started the day a lot like this.
Please disperse. Nothing to see here, please.
Yep, definitely a rough day for the shorts, but hey, you know, they've been having a lot of fun with Ilus over the last several months. Not today. It's coming back on them. Chickens are coming home to roost. And let's check and see what our boy Eigel's saying today. I'm sure he's fired up. Let's see, he just did this an hour ago. It says, this is crazy. Could be seeing some institutional investors coming in, ? Looking at the stock itself. He said, there's obviously some FOMO here today, reminiscent of the first run up. The difference is back then it was mainly based on hype. This time we know what Ilus has in store with major developments expected in the days and weeks ahead. TikTok, he says. So he's fired up, I'm sure. And they're pretty much having a party in the Discord, as you can imagine. All right, I want to tell you what I think is playing a role in this. Obviously, the fundamentals are good. We know that the big September announcement, it's been moving up from 6 to 7. Now it's up to almost 10 or over. So that's playing a role. But also, it's been covered heavily by a couple of the bigger penny stock YouTube content creators like Moon Market and Alpha Status. I think those two, look, they've got way more subscribers than I do, and they've been covering the crap out of this all weekend. That may be playing a role. I don't have the ability to move any stocks. I don't have enough subscribers for that.
And I'm no slouch myself.
Don't sell yourself short, Judge. You're a tremendous slouch.
Yep. I'm no slouch myself. But anyway, I think that's playing a bit of a role too. But this thing was destined to pop at some point. It just got down too low. That 6 cents was too low. I mean, it was sitting down here at under 90 million. And they're getting ready to finish an acquisition on a company that's 100 million, and they did 19 million in this last quarter. So I mean, this is a pretty low market cap. The forward PE on it's in the teens, and if they get that net income increasing, which I would assume they will, I mean, fire and safety is a very profitable sector. The forward PE will get even lower. That's what I think will happen. So this was probably bound to catch up at some point. And realize everything's out of favor right now in the high-risk stocks, especially penny stocks. So at some point, that's going to turn around. Is this the beginning of it? I don't know. It may come back, and, people may take some profit on this. That wouldn't shock me at all. I'm not chasing it right now. I'm not going to do the FOMO deal. But, I understand people getting excited about it. And at some point long-term, I see this company being worth a lot of money. But like I said, I don't chase. I'm trying to be conservative and careful with my penny stock investments. I buy on support, and then I let them run one way or the other, and hopefully they go up like it did today. That's great. If this thing continues to skyrocket over the next several weeks or something, I'm going to take some profit in my Roth IRA. And, of course, I've got my long position pretty full. I'm very comfortable with it, but this is a good day. I tell you, I was looking at my portfolio, especially the pennies, and, man, this thing ramped it up nicely. All right, folks, that's Ilus today. I'm happy for everybody that owns Ilus today. We needed a big ramp up like this. It feels good. And I like it long term. Like I said, always be careful with penny stocks. There's risk involved, but it's nice to see Ilus get some love. That's for sure. And I'm sure you're having a great day too. If you like this content, be sure to hit that like button. Lets me know to continue to cover Ilus. And if you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button. I'd appreciate it. And I hope you did like the content. And we'll see you next time on Mr. Frugal Investor.